Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, America. You are now listening to MCSC, and I am your host, Niko House. I want to thank you all for tuning in, and as always, I want to thank American Freedom Radio for hosting us. Definitely go check out their Twitter. If you are not following them already, you can subscribe to them on Facebook, and of course, go to the American Freedom Radio website to hear more great political commentary, some more of that real stuff, that real talk. Or as we say in the Ville, real spill, if you will. So, also want to give a special thanks to our affiliate, the Credit Surgeon. If you are looking to get a new house, new mortgage, new loan, take care of any type of debt, delinquent payments, and you don't want to take 3 years to have it taken care of, talk to the Credit Surgeon. You can go to thecreditsurgeons.com, and you can contact them through their website. So with that being said, I want to go ahead and get into the nitty gritty. How's everybody been? It's been a good week. Everybody, fine, good. Nobody accidentally killed themselves before any type of, testifying, for example. Nobody killed themselves. Okay, good. Everybody been paying attention to politics? Because it's getting a little bit interesting, isn't it? It's looking like I said the same thing last week. It's been a hell of a year. In a good way. Last year in 2017, it seems like we couldn't have anything go our way. Literally anything. Like you could walk. It was like, you remember that scene? Have y'all seen American Gangster with Denzel Washington? If you've ever seen that movie, you would recall that scene where he literally pulled a gun out in the middle of the street and just popped somebody right in the head and walked straight back to his coffee shop. Not even like a long walk back to the coffee shop. He did about face, 2 steps back into the coffee shop, went on about his business. That's pretty much how last year felt. But now it seems like a lot more people are being held accountable. People are being indicted, which I thought that word was like some type of play, pretend word, considering that no one was getting indicted. Like, I thought it was like just at that point, it was, I don't know what the word is to describe it, but essentially nobody was getting indicted. Nobody was facing any charges for anything, and all the conversations were just hush. Everything was hush. But now, everybody's getting exposed. Some propaganda is getting exposed. Jimmy Dore had Peter Lavelle from Crosstalk on RT talking about some real good stuff. Just real quick before I get started on my show, this is actually a really interesting fact that I didn't even know. But Peter Lavelle obviously lived in Russia, or he lives in Russia currently. He's actually he lived in Russia for 20 years. He's a foreign policy expert, and he was actually talking about why Russia invaded Ukraine and how our media totally spun that story way out of control. And it's the same narrative that Barack Obama then used to invest hundreds of billions of dollars into moving forces into the Eastern Bloc. So the Ukraine was trying to negotiate with the EU and then bring in the United States so that they could import cheaper goods and undercut Russia. Russia actually asked them nicely to not do that. Right? Because Russia, just like anyone else, has to look out for the interests of its people. I think that's a pretty fair request, I don't think that's a lot to ask for. They say, hey, let's work together. We both live near each other. Let's make these the economic relations comparable so that we can continue to support our people and you can continue to support yours. But that's not how oligarchs work. And the oligarchs of Ukraine were the ones making these decisions. And so because of that is actually why Russia had decided to advance onto Ukraine. Now, of course, as many of you probably know, we had no idea any of that shit was going on because most of that stuff gets hidden from us. Just like when the market was about to crash in 2008, but the United Nations knew about it in 2005 and 2006. They even had a whole meeting about it. They even let in Romania and Bulgaria, even though they were the most corrupt countries, but they had a lot of money. So they were like, hey, it's cool. We can forgive the corruption as long as you make sure we don't die when the United States stock market crashes. Because they knew it was going to happen. But we didn't know because our media refused to cover it because they're soulless bastards and they get paid not to cover stuff. So that was an interesting fact. And it really just kind of once again displays how bad the mainstream media is. in that our view of what happens in the world is greatly tailored based off of what they want us to see. And so I'm glad that we're finally breaking that mold. Now that I think everybody is here, I want to go ahead and start off with the first topic of this evening, which is Mr. Joe Biden. Sweet baby Joe. First of all, let me start off by saying something. Why do they want to run Joe Biden? I won't call him that. I ain't call him all kinds of fornication, like, mother fornicator. I'm not gonna call him that. But this guy is the most boring guy ever. Like, there are a lot of boring people out there. And in fact, I thought John McCain was a pretty boring fellow until you listen to a Joe Biden speech. Listening to a Joe Biden speech will put you to sleep faster than hitting the blunt mixed with whack dips in NyQuil. It's that boring. And the fact that they think that all of a sudden, this man who literally got his ass handed to him the first time he ran for election. A lot of people like my age forget that Joe Biden ran in 2008 with Obama and Hillary, because he was just that unimportant that nobody remembered who he was. Literally, in my generation's mind, Joe Biden's career, for some reason, started when he became the vice president. Nobody knows why he was picked as the vice president. Nobody knows how he got there. This man was nobody until he became the vice president of the United States of America. So, with that, I'm just from a strategic standpoint, you lost. I mean, granted, your candidate was also flawed as hell, but you lost because your candidate was just uninteresting. She was lame. She tried to whip and nene on Ellen DeGeneres. She was just totally unrelatable. She walked around in astronaut suits that she called pantsuits. Like she was just whack. She was a whack candidate. She was unimpressive. She didn't galvanize anybody. So the dim solution is, you know what we'll do? We'll do it again, except for with the white guy. I'm sure that'll work this time. No, it's not going to work. Because, I mean, we can go into a plethora of reasons why. But let's just talk about this one. Let's talk about the fact that Joe Biden, in all of his dumbacity, decided to start off his campaign by saying that millennials, you know what? I don't have any empathy for you. You should just get over it. Y'all have it easy compared to how we had it. First of all, Joe Biden was a white guy growing up in the 60s, the 50s and the 60s. I'm almost 100% positive that 90% of us didn't have it as easy as he had it, comparably, if we're talking about the ability to advance themselves. Like, let's be realistic here, okay? So, not quite, I don't think you're quite relatable, Joe. So, mind you, the reason that Bernie Sanders was so successful was because, what was the first thing that he did? He was smart, right? He said, hey, millennials, if you all want change, I'm here to help you reach that change. I believe in you. You need this change because the future, you're the future generation. You're kind of getting screwed right now. Come hang out with me. We were like, hell yeah, Bernie Sanders, we're on the way, bro. Like, clearly you're old enough to buy us alcohol, so we'll hang out with you. Like, I don't know, but that's pretty much what happened, right? Because of that, he brought in like boatloads of young people to go out and vote for him in a very similar way that Barack Obama did. So why in the hell did Joe Biden think that it was a great opening strategy to say that millennials are just worthless? We've put ourselves in a situation. It's because we're not fighting that we haven't gotten out of this situation. What the hell kind of... Oh, man. I'm telling y'all, I say this probably once a day. Democratic strategists have to be the worst, most overpaid dumbasses in the history of all strategists, including Republicans. See, the difference between Democratic strategists and Republican strategists is that, like, Republican strategists, even though their tactics are vile, they win elections. The problem with Democratic strategists are that their tactics are vile. They've convinced themselves at this point that they're actually Democrats, when most of them are just Republicans in disguise, because they forgot 25 years ago that it was almost impossible to win as a Republican in their district, so they switched over to Democrat. But they keep trying to push Republican strategies in Democratic districts and wonder why they keep getting their ass whooped. Because they're not self-aware, they're not conscious of what's going on. They just know, this is what my old racist KKK grandpa used to do when he was Republican in the South. So we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to switch the term Republican with Democrat and go on about our business. So you start pandering about the old days and how we're so much harder. We worked so much harder than the millennials of the day. They have it so much easier. Man, if you don't listen, how about we start getting into the nitty gritty? How about we start getting into the facts? I love the facts. So whenever they start talking about how millennials just aren't productive, how about we just talk about the fact that productivity has actually grown? Not by a little bit, but by a lot. In fact, productivity has grown 5.9 times, so about 6 times more than pay has. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. If productivity has grown 6 times more than pay, and if the pay is minimum wage is $9, well, it's $8-9 an hour, depending on what state you live in. What is it? I don't know. Hey, I'm not good at math. Let me just go ahead and do a little. I am not good at math. So we're going to count out loud together, okay? 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48. So what you telling me right now is that the minimum wage, I'm not joking, people. The minimum wage should be roughly $48 an hour. And that's if it's at $8 an hour right now. And people think that's actually insane, remember? People there are conservatives and libertarians who legitimately believe that that is an absolute insane notion. But is it? I don't think so. Because if you all recall, not even 20 to 25 years ago, well, no, actually, it was a little bit longer than that now, about 30 to 40 years ago, the notion of I will graduate high school and instead of going to college, I will actually go directly into work and be able to support my family was not strange. It was not looked down upon. In fact, that was actually the status quo. To go to work, to learn a trade, to work in a factory, to work in, sales, to be a secretary. I mean, there was a lot of different things that people could do. And they would all be paid at a pretty decent and reasonable rate that you could have your own little house in the suburbs, collect a pension, have health care, have dental. I'm way too young to remember that, but it did used to happen. So the notion that now, given inflation, that we should be making $48 an hour minimum a piece is really not all that crazy. And by the way, that's on average. Some people make a little bit less, some people make a little bit more, but it's not insane to think that. Hell, let's just say not even $48. Let's just say we should be making $25 to $30 an hour. Which by the way, according to all studies, that's actually, we should legitimately be close to $40 to $45 an hour. That's not even an exaggeration. We could actually raise the minimum wage to about that much. You know how much the cost of a double cheeseburger would go up? Like 10 cents. And then people always, what do they always say? What was the argument? What do they always say? Oh, if you raise the minimum wage, all the prices will go up. Hold on. What you mean the price is going to go up? What happened to your capitalism? What happened to your free market? What happened to your free market competition? If wages go up and everybody start raising prices, wouldn't your competition kick in? and make sure that all the prices stay competitive? That's what I would think, right? No? Yeah, probably, maybe. That's what's supposed to happen, but that's not what happens. Because crony capitalism, which a lot of libertarians and I guess purists in the capital and the purists who celebrate capitalism always say they always tend to forget that in our current system, as proven by this productivity chart, they go out of their way to restrict competition. And it's actually the inherent opposite, the antithesis of what capitalism was supposed to be. Because we're not actually in a capitalist system, we're in a crony capitalist system. And if Joe Biden understood this, then he wouldn't be standing here bitching at millennials about why we can't buy a house. Bitch, how about you go buy a house on $8.99 an hour after I just got a degree that I got to pay for? Well, I worked all the way through summer to get my college degree. When you went to college, it was only $500 a semester. And that's like maybe a lot. Joe Biden, when he went to college, at that time it was only a Bedrock University. Who got that? That's a Flintstones reference because he's old as hell. But seriously, trying to compare where we're at right now economically, as far as what people my age, the millennial generation, have to deal with what Joe Biden, who was 188 years old, had to deal with, is absolutely ludicrous. It's like, for my sports fans, they'll know what I'm talking about. It's like trying to compare this era of basketball to the Bill Russell era of basketball. All the rules have changed to favor offense. All of it. So if you're born in the situation, or if you're, for example, if we're going to stick to sports, if you're born more athletically gifted, as in you're taller, you're naturally stronger because you may have had family members who play basketball, and so you inherited a lot of their gifts and their physique. If you had all the training that you could afford, this is literally basketball and economics is very similar nowadays. If you could go to the right private school, get seen by the right person, network with the right people, get seen by the right sponsor, then yeah, the new rules favor you heavily. What if none of that applies to you, but you still want to play in the same system? Then you need to get over it, because that's life. Now, the same Joe Biden is the guy who said at the end of the video where he's damning millennials, he says that we need to get up and get involved. Ain't this about a bit? Yo, didn't we just get up and get involved? I don't know. I'm a millennial. I'm on like the middle. I'm a middle millennial. I'm a millennial. Okay, look, I don't know how you mix middle and millennial, but that's what I am. And last time I checked, in 2016, we were pretty damn involved. Actually, last time I checked, I was president of the largest Bernie Sanders group in the entire nation. Like Bernie Sanders organization, as in we were the largest organization out of everyone who was not officially working for the campaign. And they were all millennials, college students at UNC no less, where we already didn't have lives. So every minute that we invested into the Bernie Sanders campaign, we were waving bye-bye to another one of our A's. I'm not exaggerating. It was stressful as hell. But we understood how important it was, which is also why so many more millennials came out this election than ever before, including Obama's election. But hey, Joe Biden, you know what? That is a winning strategy. That is a winning strategy. Keep talking shit about millennials after we are outnumbering your baby boomers. Like we're pretty much outnumbering your baby boomers. By the time your election comes, there's a lot of us. A lot of people gonna be turning 18, dog. And you're not that exciting. So probably wouldn't be best to start off talking shit. You already, like, I don't want to go into all of that right now, but he already has a record that is going to get destroyed whenever he runs. So the best thing to do probably wouldn't be to start off talking shit about millennials. But I digress. Let's move on to the next topic. So, Chelsea Manning is running for office. And I have been watching all of y'all comments about how y'all feel about this. I felt actually good about this. Had nothing to do with what any of y'all were talking about, to be totally honest with you. I was kind of confused. Y'all, some people were like, she shouldn't run because she isn't qualified. I'm like, Al Franken wasn't even qualified to run for office. This man was a comedian, and he said, you know what? I think I know what the next step of my life is going to be. I'm going to be a senator of the United States of America. Hold up. How do you even get to that conclusion? How do you go from wanting to be a comedian to wanting to be a senator in the United States of America? Who, and then of Minnesota, no less. Granted, obviously, it's like his home state, but like, who wakes up one day and decides something like that? You know what? Probably, here's what really happened, in case you didn't know. Al Franken isn't really that funny. He's really not that funny. And so he's probably catching up to him. He was like, I can either keep up with the Kardashians or run for office. You know what? I'm going to take all this corporate money and just run for office instead because I'm really not that funny. So Chelsea Manning actually is pretty qualified, believe it or not, more so than most of the senators who run for the United States. She was in the military, clearly. She is actually a writer right now for, I want to say, The Guardian. Don't quote me on that. But she is a columnist. And she actually has a lot of articles on a wide array of political issues. So she's educated, clearly. She's been involved in the justice system, in the legal system. But actually, believe it or not, all of that totally irrelevant to why I think that Chelsea Manning absolutely needs to run. So, I don't know if you all remember this, but once upon a time, Chelsea Manning was in jail. She was in jail. Do y'all remember what she was in jail for? She was in jail for releasing some documents. That's a little something, a few top secret documents about how the Bush administration was mistreating some prisoners and some things that they did overseas as well. You know those documents, the documents that she released, you know where those documents went to? They went to this esteemed and prestigious organization with a track record of absolute perfection that the Democrats revered and celebrated in 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011. This organization was called WikiLeaks. Yeah, hold up, what? Oh, yeah, it was WikiLeaks. You know, the same WikiLeaks that all of a sudden their Russian bots all of a sudden worked for Putin. Julian Assange works for Putin now. All of a sudden, they're dangerous hackers that work for terrorist organizations. That same WikiLeaks. Now, here's what makes this an even more interesting story. Remember how Barack Obama exonerated Chelsea Manning not even, a year ago at this point? That's a little weird. I thought that if you leak to WikiLeaks, then you're a Russian spy. You're a Trump troll, whatever, you're a Putin puppet. But whenever Chelsea Manning was released, it was, she did a great service to this nation. Oh, wait a minute now. So now the Democrats got some explaining to do. And I think it is going to be absolutely hilarious the moment that Chelsea Manning is addressed publicly about what happened to her and why she was put in jail and why she was released and who she released those documents to. And then the Democrats are going to have a lot of explaining to do when she says, yeah, When I release these Democrats, I remember ex-senator and ex-congresswoman and ex-congressman from the Democrats were all trying to fight for my release because what they said what I did was patriotic. They said I should not have been punished for that, to such a degree that even Barack Obama agreed, who was also a Democrat, the same Democrat who was also trying to blame Russia for what happened during the election, trying to say that WikiLeaks and Russia was connected. All of a sudden, they don't like WikiLeaks anymore. All of a sudden, WikiLeaks is Russian, which is really weird because they release a lot of documents on Russia too. The Russian oligarchs do not like Julian Assange, people. Julian Assange has actually gotten the Russian oligarchs in trouble with the Kremlin a lot. So what happens next? Well, that remains to be seen. But what I would like to see happen is that Chelsea Manning comes out and exposes the Democratic Party for exactly what it is. And they have to, because they can silence Julian Assange, but Chelsea Manning has a different type of platform. I think we would agree on that. What are the Democrats going to do? And they tried it. They're actually trying it right now. The Democrats, if they attack a transgender woman who they let out of jail because they believe that she was vindicated, because you all understand how important what Chelsea Manning, if she was the reason that George Bush and Dick Cheney can't leave the country anymore. Do you understand that, people? What she did was revolutionary, to say the least. That's probably an understatement. Chelsea Manning is a damn hero. And she sacrificed a lot to be where she's at. So to pretend like the Democratic Party is now trying to do that, she is all of a sudden unqualified. I mean, the attacks on Chelsea Manning have been kind of ridiculous. But they're doing it right now because if they do it in the spotlight, ooh, after all the identity politics they've played at this point, can't do that. Can't do that and get away with it anyway. I would say at this point that Maryland should be extremely happy to have someone like Chelsea Manning running for office. Actually, think about the attacks that she's about to receive. Seriously. What are you going to argue? Like, what is your what's your campaign ad going to look like against her? Do you really want this woman who exposed war crimes and got 2 war criminals in trouble for exposing the way they were treating prisoners in violations of human rights in the Geneva Convention? Do you really want someone like that in the Senate holding other people accountable, just like she did George W. Bush and just like she did Dick Cheney? Yeah, that's exactly what we want. What do we sign up? Can we go vote? Can we drive to Maryland and vote for her too? I would love that, actually. Can we please have someone who we can trust to tell the truth, even if it means sacrificing their own brand, their selves, their time, their freedom, to make sure that crimes are exposed? You're asking how we can vote for altruism? We've been waiting for an option. I'm sure Maryland has as well. So I believe that it is an absolute must that Chelsea, because I was kind of like trying to figure out like where I stood, because it wasn't that I didn't like Chelsea or anything like that. I think she's pretty cool. She seems like a very, very positive person. But I wanted to make sure that it wasn't a gimmick. I wanted to make sure that it wasn't for attention, because I do consider Chelsea at this point a celebrity still, because that's just kind of like what she's kind of fallen into, in my opinion. But not in a bad way. Not in a bad way. But you have to make sure that people are doing things for the right reasons. And one of the easiest ways, really fast, is that one of the easy ways that you can figure out whether somebody likes if somebody is corrupt or not, or if they're working for your best interest or working for the establishment's best interest, just wait for the attack articles. Wait for the attack articles. All the smear campaigns. Remember what happened with Tulsi? Whenever it was spoken that Tulsi might be running for, like, just because she got steam, like, literally out of nowhere, because it wasn't like she was just kind of posting tweets and taking it upon herself to try to do some international relation work. Wasn't boasting about it, wasn't really bragging about it. She got invited on a couple of shows, and all of a sudden, all of the smear articles came out. Even with Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders has a $700 jacket on. What? You mean a senator who makes like $150,000 a year can't afford a $700 jacket? Even though it was a gift, but still. What? That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. Why are we arguing about something? That's the problem with politics right now. I saw a post on Facebook where Occupy Democrats was trying to have a debate about whether or not Trump is actually 6'2" or not, because he was standing beside Barack Obama, and Barack Obama is 6'1", and that was a legitimate argument on a post that got a bunch of reactions. That is the state of our democracy. I think there maybe there might be some legitimate critiques of Chelsea Manning. I haven't actually seen any yet. I think she deserves a chance. And because the establishment has spent money attacking this woman. She did sacrifice her freedom just so other people could have legitimate human rights, and that we would stop violating war treaties. I think that's pretty good reason to believe that she's probably going to do the right thing whenever. She's going to do the right thing even when it's not convenient for her. And that's a very, very, very rare quality for pretty much anybody in politics nowadays. I think we can all agree on that. Jilly Love on YouTube said the CIA will not be happy. Yeah, that's not a joke at all. The CIA is going to be pissed. They're already pissed. So, I totally agree with that. I think there's going to be the DNC defunded her apparently too. I did not know that. I kind of expected that though. They've already selected pretty much the candidates they want winning. And I'm pretty much 100% positive that Chelsea Manning was not on that list. So like I said, I can't wait for that conversation to come up. I want to know how they're going to explain themselves. Oh, all of a sudden you don't like WikiLeaks anymore, but 10 years ago, Julian Assange was a patriot. Crazy how shit changes. So, next topic, which is probably the topic that most people are here for right now. Y'all want to hear my diatribe on Cory Booker and Kamala Harris. Give me a second. Hold on. Let me go ahead and put this up. I'm going to stretch for a second, y'all. Go ahead, get ready. Let me stretch it out a little bit. Do my mouth exercises. That's my mouth exercise. Don't judge me for that. It looks a lot prettier when nobody can see it and I'm in the dark. Let me stretch out real quick. Man, fuck Cory Booker and Kamala Harris. I hate both of them. Legitimately, I hate them. I don't say that a lot. Y'all hear me talk? I don't say. I know I do. I do say I hate Hillary. But I don't say I hate a lot of people, okay? But fuck both of them. I do not like them. Why? Well, let's start about the fact that all of the sudden, Cory Booker and Kamala Harris care about black people. All of a sudden. When he called me last night, I was driven to tears. when I heard the comments that were said, man, Cory Booker, if you don't shut the hell, boy, you don't care about black people, dog. If you've ever met a black person from New Jersey, especially from what is the word? Newark, where he was mayor, they do not like that guy. They don't like him. He didn't do anything at all. Think about it. What is one of Cory Booker's greatest achievements? You don't know because he don't have any. But I can tell you a lot of things that he did do that probably wouldn't be viewed in such high esteem, like, preventing more affordable pharmaceuticals to be imported to the country, voting with the Republicans, by the way, one of only 12 or 13 Democrats to do so. Oh, by the way, he's religiously voted with Big Pharma. Or the fact that all of a sudden he cares about what goes on in Haiti. All of a sudden he cares about what's happening in Africa. All of a sudden he cares about our Muslim and Sikh brothers and sisters. Boy, where the hell was you at whenever Barack Obama was literally Barack Obama and everybody? Cory Booker is a snake. He is a snake. Not only is he a snake, he's a snake with no significant achievements. You know how Barack Obama will Affordable Health Care Act is not good, but at least he can be like, yeah, this is what I fought for. Even Hillary would say things like, or could claim things like, I tried to fight for universal health care for children whenever I was the first lady. Things like that. Cory Booker ain't got nothing like that to say. He literally has done nothing. I don't even know how he keeps getting elected to office at this point. I know the state's not that big, but damn. And then, Kamala Harris, she's worse. We ain't never even heard your name before 6 months ago. We didn't even know who the hell you were. I still don't know where you came from. I mean, I know she's from California. I know her background. What I'm saying is, who the hell are you? You've not done anything of any significance in the legislature since you've been there. And now it's, Cory Booker and Kamala Harris for 2020 because they can say that black people hate when people are racist. I don't give a we know that. If you don't know by now that black people get pissed off when people say racist things, then you're behind the power curve, people. I don't need Cory Booker or Kamala Harris to stand up there and argue with a person who clearly does not give a shit about what you're talking about how much black people hate it when people say racist things. I think it's pretty widely understood at this point that black people hate racist shit. I think most people hate racist shit. But standing up there and whining about racism does not give me or anybody in this country universal health care, does not give me or anybody in this country a fair and livable wage. It is not in the crony capitalism in this country. It does not draw nearer the wage gap. It does not revive any of those people that were being bombed and that are currently being bombed still in these Muslim dominant countries. But all of a sudden you care about Muslims. Kamala Harris, you complaining about race does not change the fact that you were, as Attorney General for California, one of the strongest proponents for the mandatory minimum, which literally is one of the most racist policies ever invented. And it usually only affects black people. A more majority speaking, it only affects black people. Oh, but you care, but you care about black people now. All of a sudden. You don't remember, Kamala? Come on, I know you remember. Remember how all that money you took from prison lobbyists, and so pretty much all of your policies were in favor of being tough on crime? You took all that money from prison lobbyists? That's going to come out. Kamala Harris is a snake. And not only you a snake, but you a snake and nobody knows who you are. What people say, maybe Hillary Clinton evolved. Y'all haven't even, like, Kamala Harris specifically, hasn't even been in the game long enough to even use that argument. Like, you were passing those policies, like, 3 months ago. Exaggeration. But, like, not even joking, like, 2 years ago, you were passing these policies. So if you were passing these policies 2 years ago, all of a sudden now you care about how black people are being treated. Can you believe that? Kamala, we don't know you. And if you think, because I know the Democratic Party thinks that this is a thing. They think that Facebook likes and Twitter retweets are going to turn people out for elections. No, that's not how this works. It's a lot easier for me to press like than it is for me to get my ass up, get in the car, stand down the cold, vote for your lame ass after I read your horrible record. Because what happens is, just like with Hillary Clinton, the more people start reading it, I'm like, I guess if they get to the election, we might go vote for them. But understand, this is a new age, people. YouTube is a thing. Hell, I don't have, because Google, during the elections, not reliable. Don't get any information from Google during the elections. But DuckDuckGo, Bing is pretty good as well. If you want to read the effects on what a lot of these policies have that they've passed and approved, if you want to know about the effects, use Google Scholar and look up their area. And you can find a lot. But this information is readily accessible. And you think there are a bunch of journalists at home, bored and waiting. We're praying. Y'all, as a journalist, like just from a profession standpoint, I'm praying that Kamala Harris and Cory Booker are that damn stupid that they run. Because if Cory Booker and Kamala Harris run, I'm going to be a very busy bee during the Democratic primary elections of 2020. Because there is almost too much to discuss about Cory Booker and Kamala Harris. Whether you want to talk about Cory Booker's record and when it comes to voting in favor of the pharmaceutical industry, or if you want to talk about Kamala Harris's record as far as her anti-education, public education stances, her pro war on drugs stances, how much money both of them take from super PACs, how silent both of them were during the elections. All of a sudden they care about black people, and when Trump calls places shitholes, now you're concerned. But y'all both actively supported a candidate who literally extorted every black nation she could get her hand on, namely Haiti, mostly Haiti. But don't worry, Chelsea Clinton was in Africa too. Y'all didn't know that, but Chelsea Clinton was in Africa as well. I'm still waiting for the video. I'm waiting for that Facebook video where Cory Booker and or Kamala Harris is actually preemptively and proactively advocating for a radical policy. I don't care if you can react to something that the media covers, like whenever the Trump care passed, and all of a sudden, that's whenever Cory Booker and Kamala Harris wanted to be all up in the camera talking about healthcare. We need to protect the ACA. Well, what about universal healthcare? Whoa. Hold on, people. That's not what I came here to talk about. I just came here to bash Trump. Y'all asking me to talk about things that I don't want to talk about. I don't feel comfortable talking about this. Y'all know I got my lobbyists back here watching me. I just came out here to complain about Trump and then leave the building. That's all I wanted. Oh, don't know. Have they not seen this pattern yet? Have they not caught this pattern? Do you know what made Bernie Sanders so revolutionary? It's because he was ahead of the curve. All the stuff that y'all are afraid to discuss, he talked about. He was never reactionary. He was proactive. Tulsi Gabbard, in a very promising position on the DNC, literally could have skyrocketed through the ranks. Probably could have been running in 2020 with the backing of the DNC. Say, yeah, y'all are corrupt as hell. I'm out. And guess what? Regardless of the Democratic Party wants to acknowledge it or not, she could be a potential 2020 candidate, and she would absolutely win because that is forever on her resume. Because they remember how she stood out, not how she fit in with the establishment. Nina Turner gave up, essentially, her political office to be a surrogate for Bernie Sanders' campaign while she was running. She should have been running and campaigning, but she said this is more important. When all the black senators and Congress people were, oh yeah, Hillary was definitely doing the civil rights thing, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. No, she wasn't. This is Mrs. Confederate Flag Day. Mr. and Mrs. Confederate Flag Clinton. Nina Turner was out here telling it exactly how it is, how it was, and how it should be. Nina Turner, Tulsi Gabbard, Bernie Sanders, Jill Stein, a few others out there at the local levels as well. They didn't become popular. They didn't galvanize people to vote for them because they just reacted to everything that Trump and the Republicans said. That's weak. It's weak sauce. It's weak sauce. It's a bad strategy that doesn't get people excited to come vote for you. Because if you're going to be reactionary, then they're going to be reactionary. Because what happens if, God forbid, Trump does something good right before the elections come? Maybe he has an ace in the hole that nobody was expecting. If you're reactionary and you can't react to that, how are you going to galvanize people? Because the world is racist thing, I'm going to tell you a little secret. Black people are desensitized to that. We already know that the world is racist. How are you going to win seats in the South complaining about racism when black people in the South already know racism exists? We've dealt with it all the time. We still deal with it. Before Trump was in office, we dealt with it. So what are you going to... Republicans are racist, go vote for Democrats. We know. What, the Democrats aren't racist? Yeah, you could have fooled me. If you ever met some of these damn Dixiecrats, you would know that there's a lot of racist Democrats. Donna Brazile even talked about it, and she was part of the establishment. But even still, the going assumption in the South is that, yeah, most of the Republicans there are racist. I mean, there was a guy who literally came out and said that that marijuana cannot be legal because black people specifically could not handle it. We would just go crazy. So, yeah, it's kind of the ongoing sentiment in the South is that, Republicans are racist. And what are you going to do for us? Well, no. Republicans are racist. Look at Trump. They were with Trump. That's not what I ask you. What are you going to do for us? What are you going to do different? Well, I'll tell you what I'm not going to let them do. That's not what I asked you. I said, what are you planning to do that will make our lives collectively easier? Because I'm a pragmatist. People say and feel how they want, and I don't care. Are your actions, or in this case, your policies, affecting me based off of your beliefs? If they're not, be as racist as you damn well want. I don't give a damn. As long as you don't bring it into the workplace, you don't bring it into my house, you don't bring it into my politics. You can call me all types of N-words at your house. You cannot let my son date your daughter. No, I'm just kidding. But if you're a Democrat and you're crying wolf with the racism thing, and you're not introducing policies that in a secular diplomatic way isolates things that could be taken as racist in fixing those policies, then what makes you different than the racists who are enacting the policies? Because if you're not going to actually change those policies, then I don't have anything really to talk about with you. For example, Joe Biden was one of the people who authored the crime bill, the initial crime bill that like kind of screwed us. That was Joe Biden. He was on the committee that wrote that, and he actually champions it. He champions that bill. Hey, fun fact before we go, because we got like 5 minutes left. Fun fact. Y'all remember in the beginning I was telling y'all about productivity versus income, how it's staggering. As far as we don't make anywhere nearly as much as the productivity like is increased. Income is not increased with productivity at all, not even a little bit. Y'all want to know whenever the income and productivity started staggering? Y'all never gonna guess. Actually, some of y'all probably will. The income and productivity started staggering right about the time Ronald Reagan came into office. Mr. Trickle-Down Economics himself. Right about that time. Yeah. Coincidence though, I'm sure. Right? Hey, capitalism works. That's why income inequality is so high. Because capitalism works. That's why homelessness is at an all-time high. Because pure capitalism works. You know how many homeless active duty military members we have right now? Like 0. Why? Because democratic socialism actually works. And for some, we allocate a whole budget to the military. Oh, no. You know how much of that defense budget goes to the actual soldiers, to the personnel? Like 0.05% or something like that. It's despicably small, people. Despicably small. Military pays their taxes. We get food. We get lodge. We get health care. And guess what? You remember whenever the stock market crashed? I was living in Fort Bragg. I live in Fayetteville, North Carolina, which is home to Fort Bragg, the largest military base in the country, as far as personnel is concerned. Guess what was one of the only cities in the entire nation that actually didn't experience a crash as far as like their overall GDP is concerned? The military. Now, I wonder why that is. Maybe because they didn't have to worry about how they were going to buy their houses. They didn't have to worry about how they were going to pay their bills. They can invest in productivity. They could invest in themselves. They could invest in their family. They could go to school. They can invest in businesses because they had money. Funny how that works. But thank you all so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. Make sure you tune into the YouTube page. Make sure you follow us on Facebook and Twitter at NikoCSFB. And always remember, people, find your balance. Peace.